This is Psalms 1:1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful, which is someone who speaks arrogantly. In this case, speaking arrogantly against the truth. So a man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly is blessed. And that's what we want to be. Blessed. And we don't want to walk in the counsel of the ungodly. And that's what happens when you're away from your power source, which is the truth. You start what? Walking in the counsel of the ungodly. Baby, 1 second. I must have pressed something. Alright, so that's what you want to be. We don't want to be in the counsel of the ungodly. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, which is self-explanatory. You don't want to be in the way of sinners. Nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful, but his delight is in the law of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, and then his law doeth he meditate day and night. So you got to meditate on the Lord day and night. I mean, you got to meditate on these scriptures. You got to constantly be in deep thought of these scriptures. When you go to the supermarket, it's supposed to be a natural thing in your mind. But you about to purchase something, look at those ingredients. You're supposed to naturally be in that spirit. You know, that's just an example, of course. But that's a sign that you're always thinking about this word. And he shall be like, because somebody that's not really thinking about this word, they're not paying attention to the dietary law. They're just going to eat any old thing. He shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water. See? So if your delight is in this word and you meditate on it day and night, you're going to be like a tree planted by the rivers of water. A tree that's planted by the rivers of water is a tree that flourishes. Why? Because a tree is planted by water. It's planted right by its power source, which allows it to remain healthy. It allows it to remain strong and fruitful. So that's how it is with the scriptures. That's how we're not supposed to wander out of the way of understanding. Because if you wander out of the way of understanding, you're away from your power source. Understanding is your power source. That's your strength. And when you start to wander away from this word, this understanding, which is life, guess what? You start going in the way of death. Which goes right into the scripture, Psalms 1:3. Being like a tree planted by the rivers of water. A tree that's planted by the water is right by its power source. It's right by that which gives us strength. It says the word gives us strength. That bringeth forth fruit in his season. His leaf shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. There you go. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 12, verse 43. When the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walketh through dry places, seeking rest, and findeth none. So when the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walketh through dry places, seeking rest, and findeth none. So now, if you're walking in a dry place like a desert, then guess what? You don't have any water around you. But what you're doing is you're constantly looking for some type of nourishment. You're constantly looking for somewhere to rest your head, somewhere to find rest. Because if you're in a dry place like a desert, it's no water, it's no shade. So where you gonna find water in a dry place? Where you gonna find rest in a place where there's heat like a desert and there's no shade? You're not gonna find none. So what you gonna do? Then he saith, I'm not talking about you in particular, but I'm just referencing physically. If this is talking about an actual person going through dry places like a desert, there's no water, and they're seeking rest. They're seeking some type of shade, someone to rest their head. Well, you can't find that in a desert place, and find if none. So what's the next step? You're gonna go wherever you can go to find that rest, like an evil spirit will go. They're trying to go somewhere to find rest. So what do? Then he saith, I will return into my house from whence I came out. I'm going to go back to the place from which I came out. That's what this evil spirit is saying. So this is an evil spirit that is going out of a man. This evil spirit was once on a man, but it was exorcised out of this man. It came out of this man, but it had no place where it can go to rest its head, so to speak. Nowhere else it could possess. And it decided to go back into this man from which I came out. And when he has come, he findeth it empty, swept, and garnished. So when he came back to that man, he found that man empty, swept, and garnished. Now, our bodies are likened unto a house, right? A temple, right? So he found it empty, swept, and garnished. So that man was empty, swept, and garnished of what? The Spirit of the Lord. Like a house is empty, swept, garnished, clean, furnished. and everything is just, just empty. That's how that man was. It was just completely empty from the spirit of the Lord. So when this evil spirit came back on the man, since the spirit of the Lord was not within that man, guess what happened? That demon was able to rest it within that house without any spiritual battle being fought to keep it out. Then goeth he and taketh himself 7 other spirits more wicked than himself. But see, this spirit came back with 7 other spirits, because that spirit came back into that man and recognized, well, guess what? There's no spirit here that can keep us off. That can keep me off. That's the spirit saying to itself. And then guess what? It brings other spirits along with them. So now it's even stronger than before, because it's not by itself this time. And they enter in and dwell there. And the last state of that man is worse than the first. So guess what? The last state of that man is worse than the first. See, first it was just that spirit. But it's worse now because that spirit had brought a bunch of other more spirits along with it. Even so shall it be unto this wicked generation. But that's just an example of being in a congregation of the dead. That's a man that wandereth without a way of understanding. Going back to what I was saying before, you got to examine yourself. You got to examine yourself. You know yourself. You know the different spiritual battles that you had to face when you were in this truth. You know when there was this particular demon that was on you, and through the spirit of Yahabashim Yahshua, it was chased out of you. But if you don't continue to fight, if you don't continue to remain in these scriptures, if that demon came out of you, guess what? If that demon is looking for someone else to possess, the demon may come back to you. And it may come back stronger than before if it realizes that you're weak. And that's what can happen. You can have a certain spirit on you that can come out of you. But by not examining yourself, it'll come back even stronger because it'll bring other spirits along with it. Alright? 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 16. For which cause, hold on. Yeah. For which cause we faint not, but though our outward man perish, yet the inward man is renewed day by day. So our outward man perishes. These physical bodies that we have, that outward man perishes. You get physically weak, you get tired, different ailments. That perishes, but the inward man is renewed day by day. The inward man is talking about the spirit. That's constantly renewed, constantly strengthened day by day. But it's only going to be strengthened day by day if what? You remain in these scriptures. For our light affliction, which is but for a moment. So this is a light affliction. The things we going through is only but for a moment. The things we going through is light. Going through is light. And it's only but for a moment. Working for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory. Now you see that comparison right there? Light affliction, eternal weight, and exceeding and eternal weight. So think of it like a balance beam, like a balance scale. On one side, you got a light affliction that only lasts for a moment. But on the other side, you got an exceeding and eternal weight of glory. So this side is affliction that's light. But on this side, it's glory. And the weight of that glory is exceeding. It's eternal. It's not for a moment. See, light affliction, light, exceeding, moment, eternal. It's a light affliction. But then you got an exceeding weight on the other side. The light affliction is but for a moment. But then you got an eternal weight of glory on the other side. So it's two opposites. So this is a light affliction and it's only for a moment. But we're going to get a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory. So therefore, what we're going to receive is going to be far greater than what it was that we had to go through. So the thing that we're going through is going to lead to something that's far great. Leads something that is the what it is that we're going through. What we're going to receive is far greater in comparison to what we're going through. Okay, and that's very important. So that's why you gotta maintain faith, no matter what. You gotta understand that what you're going through, you're gonna have whatever it is you may be going through. There's a greater crown that you're gonna receive, man. This is what we're going through now is nothing compared to what we're gonna receive in the kingdom. For goodness, hell, what we're going through now is nothing compared to what we're gonna go in the future, go through in the future during the time of Jacob's trouble. So that's why you gotta hold tight. You gotta hold fast, man. You gotta hold fast. Remain in these scriptures. Don't think that the Most High not dealing with you. That's just Satan mess with you, trying to get you weak. You know, to put demons on you, man. And with that, I'm gonna say, Shalom.